a mum, do you ever feel like you're doing, or at least trying your best to do all the things we should be doing in regards to our health and fitness, and getting little or no results from your efforts? In fact, instead of feeling energized, strong, and unstoppable, you feel overwhelmed, tired, and burnt out. Sometimes we need to see how doing less can actually give us more results. So if you're skipping rest days, or if you're not having any kind of rest at all, you might be sabotaging your fitness and your health. Today, I'm going to explain why. Welcome to the Happy Thriving Mums podcast, the show that talks about the simple actions busy mums like you can take to prioritise your own health, happiness and fitness. And it doesn't stop there. This show also includes amazing stories from remarkable women who help others to be the best version of themselves. Because if you feel great, you thrive, and so does your family. So, if you're ready to overcome mum guilt, manage overwhelm, feel and look your best, and create a happier, more balanced life for yourself and your family, this podcast is for you. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Happy Thriving Mums podcast. This week I'm talking about rest and recovery, especially in regards to exercise and taking part in physical activity as a busy mum. But I'm also going to talk about the importance of rest for us in general as well, because rest is fundamental to feeling great. Before I dive into that, I just wanted to remind you that my 30 Days to Summer Body Confidence Challenge is available now. It is completely free for you to sign up to, and it gives you 30 days of mini actions designed to make you feel amazing in the skin that you are in. If you would like to sign up, it is not too late, and whether it's the winter, the spring or the autumn, you can do it any time of year. The idea is to empower you to really feel great in yourself and in all that you do. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please sign up. It's in the show notes, the link for you to do so. So hopefully you will get a lot out of it. It's really great. People have enjoyed it. So I hope you do too. Anyway, back to today's episode. So today we are talking about the importance of rest, why it is essential in our lives, how we can make sure that we are doing it in a way which is really positive and really helpful, and also just to give you a few mini ideas of how you can kind of implement it into your daily routine to allow you to feel replenished, energized, and that things are not overwhelming or putting you on kind of the back foot of things. Because I think sometimes as a mum especially, we do so much. So whether you are running after the kids, whether you're organising things, whether you're at work, whether you are trying to take part in a regular exercise routine to improve your health and fitness, everything can often be so all-consuming that the important thing of rest is last thing on our mind. I know quite often it is on my kind of the end of my to-do list, is actually to give myself time to rest, recover, switch off, and just kind of be. So that's what we are going to be talking about today. One of the things which have really helped me feel more positive about this idea of rest, because I was quite often of the school of thought that resting was a waste of time, that when you rest you should be doing something else, and I felt guilty for actually resting. But I heard of this idea of rest being doing. So resting is actually doing, it's doing something, whereas before I thought that resting was doing nothing. So that kind of made me feel that it was more important, that actually it is something which is fundamental to our well-being, to our health, to our recovery, to all of these things, to allowing us to show up as the best version of ourselves. So why is it so important that we actually give ourselves time to rest and recover from exercising, for one thing, on one hand, but also just from the activities and the experiences and what goes on in our daily lives, where there's different reasons based on psychological factors, but also physiological factors as well. So if we think about the psychological point of view and for our mental health, when we rest, it helps for our stress levels to drop. So when you're resting, your stress levels diminish and they go down to allow you to feel calmer, able to cope better in different situations. This happens through rest. It also can give us better cognitive performance and motivation. So if we are well rested, basically our brains work better. We can think more clearly. We can make better decisions. We can also feel more motivated when it comes around to it to actually do other things as well. So those are kind of like the psychological reasons, or some psychological reasons why rest is important. In terms of physiology, we need to rest to allow our body to recover. So if you are exercising regularly, you're doing a regular training program, if you don't incorporate rest days into your training program, your body cannot cope. You are much more likely to become injured, to experience greater fatigue, to be sore from what you're doing. It can also affect your immunity as well. When you exercise, your muscles experience microscopic, really teeny tiny tears due to the exercise. Then what happens is they mend themselves, they recover, and then they grow bigger. That's how you become stronger and more able to exercise more, and you get fitter. That's kind of it in a nutshell. When you rest, it allows these microscopic tears to recover, to repair, and for growth to occur. So if you train and train and train and you do not give yourself time to rest, then obviously the repair and the growth won't happen. And instead of like the breaking down and the building up occurring, it would just be breaking down, breaking down, breaking down. Then obviously over time, this is going to cause problems. So repairing or allowing ourselves times to recover, to recuperate, to rest is important to allow us to grow. And I mean that physically, but also mentally as well. So it's part of progression. It's part of how we move forwards. And it's not just like taking a break from training. It allows you to get better and better and better. So how can we do this? I'm going to firstly talk about this in terms of exercising. So when you are giving yourself time for rest and recovery in terms of taking part in fitness activities, you should be, as a kind of like, if you're going back into exercise, maybe you've just had a baby and you want to start exercising again to release some weight, or if you want to become a bit fitter, or you just got to a point in your life where you thought, actually, I would like to feel fitter, I want to feel stronger, I want to start a training program. Why should we have rest days, and how should we incorporate them in? So there's different ways of doing this. So there's one thing which is called passive recovery, and there's another thing which is called active recovery. So passive recovery is when you don't do anything. It could be sleeping, it could be napping, it could just be sitting, but you are not taking part in any structured activity. There's no real movement going on. And passive recovery, you can do, say if you are at the gym and you are doing a certain amount of sets of a weight-bearing exercise, you could have a passive recovery between those sets where you don't do anything. You could have a passive recovery on, say, you've got a training program where you're training 3 days a week. You could have your 4 days where you're not exercising at all, you're just recovering. That is all passive recovery. On the other hand, active recovery is when you are doing some type of physical activity within those rest days, which is at a very low intensity movement. So it could be going for a walk, it could be going for a gentle cycle, it could be doing a gentle yoga session. It could be doing something between sets at the gym or when you are doing a workout. So it could just be like walking on the spot, doing some shoulder rolls. It involves a gentle movement. Some people say that active recovery has got massive benefits rather than a passive recovery, because what active recovery does, because you're moving still or there's movement happening, it increases blood flow, which can help remove waste products which can be produced from exercising. So there's a product called lactic acid which can build up in your body after exercise if you don't do a cool down, for example. So a cool down, you can do an active cool down, which involves a gentle jog or a gentle cycle or something like that. And this can help to remove these waste products like lactic acid, because if you have lots of lactic acid in your body, that's when in the days to come after a workout or after exercising, you can feel sore, and you can have something called delayed onset of muscle soreness. You may have heard it, DOMS, it is often referred to. So by doing active recoveries, you are actually limiting the effects of DOMS, so it means that you're probably less likely to feel sore the next day or the next day's coming. So recovery can be a choice, it can be what's best for you, it can be what fits into your day, but it's really important that you allow yourself these times of rest and recovery, whether active or passive, as I said, to allow those muscles to repair so that growth can occur. So it can be a personal choice. It could be down to if you're doing a training program, your personal trainer or whoever set the program might suggest something to you. But it's good to think about ways to recover between different fitness sessions and what kind of thing that you are going to do. So one thing that we can do as well to ensure that we are trying to take these times of recovery on maybe a more holistic scale is actually to be really mindful and really strategic in planning in rest times. So as I said, taking a rest or allowing yourself time to recover can be really important, not just physically when you are exercising, but also mentally if you are trying to get through a day where you've got lots of different things going on. And one thing which has been a really good thing, a good suggestion, and I know this has been recommended by someone like Rangan Chatterjee, Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, who talks about lots of different ways to have better mental health, how movement can be massively important for that, and also obviously the benefits of being physically active. But I know from reading his book, he suggests this idea of having a daily holiday. And he suggests that in this daily holiday, it's just where you take 5 to 10 minutes each day of just kind of stepping away from the chaos of the day or the busyness of the day or whatever's going on, to allow yourself to be mindful and calm and just to take stock, really. And this is quite a common practice. So whether you decide that you would like to do a mindfulness activity, so I know you can do like mindfulness colouring, or you listen to a meditation practice, or you breathe or do some mindful breathing for a few minutes. It allows you to have this mental recharge, which can actually help you to cope better. The NHS recommends taking notice of something to reduce stress, and this can again allow you to rest and to recover more. So it could just be looking out of the window and watching the trees and the leaves blow in the breeze. It could be, the other day I was taking the dog for a walk and I was walking along the canal, and I noticed that there was this, it was really strange. It was like a spiral pattern. I don't know if as a kid you ever had a spirograph where you had like these little, they're kind of like discs which had different holes in. You put your pen in it and then you whizzed it round in a circle and it caught in these like little circular teeth, a bit like a cog, and it made this like spiral pattern. If you know what I mean, then you are definitely probably a similar age, but I think if you know, you know. But anyway, it looked like there was this spiral pattern happening in the water, and I've got no idea. I still don't know what it is. It looked like it could have been a fish with something caught in its mouth, or I don't know if there was a moth on top of the water that was spinning around in circles trying to get out. But it created this amazing spiral pattern, which was really unusual. It's not like something that you see every day, and I walk down along the canal most days, and it was something I've never seen before. So it could just be noticing something which is unusual, or which might even be there all the time but you just don't see it. But this allows you to just kind of reflect on what's going on in your life, take a few minutes out, think of it as a holiday, even dream of being on holiday, shut your eyes, pretend you're on a beautiful beach somewhere, or you're taking a walk along a cliff top and you can see out to sea and see a beautiful sunset. Whatever it is, it allows you to physically take a moment away from any situations, which can give you that feeling of rest, that feeling of recovery. And this is something that we should try and do daily, and think about when you can build this into your busy lives. And it's one of these things that the more you practice, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and actually the results come a lot faster. So if you're in a situation where something could be a little bit stressful or a little bit difficult, can you just then for like a minute or 2 minutes find a quiet space, or go in a different room, do this exercise just for a couple of minutes, and see how quickly it allows you to come back to feeling a little bit better about yourself. It could be game changing. It really could. So what I suggest for you to try and do is to try and take this idea of rest and make it into a practice that you do on a regular basis. If it's you training, if you have got a really good training plan where you exercise 3-4 times a week, make sure on those days when you are not exercising that you are thinking about the rest activities that you are doing to allow your body to recover at its best. Think about whether it is taking into account a periodized plan. So periodization is when in a training plan you are either building up to a certain event. So maybe you're doing a 5k run, you might be building towards the 5k run. You want to be at your best fitness level possible before the run, so you're building up. But within your training plan, to stop yourself overtraining, getting injured, working your body's too hard, which could cause burnout or fatigue or that kind of thing, you are building in weeks where they might be slightly lighter training weeks to allow your body to recover but still make progress. So can you build that into your training schedule? Can you build in each day 2 minutes where you can just rest, meditate, think something mindfully, get yourself outside, feel the grass under your feet, whatever it is, to give you this kind of feeling of going on a 2-minute holiday on a daily basis? See how that makes you feel. Think of it as an investment into you feeling incredible, you feeling great, and you feeling at your best, rather than just a waste of time. Rather than thinking about, oh, I should be doing that in that time. Actually, think I should be doing this. I should be giving myself a chance just to recover just a little bit so that I can actually be better in what I'm going to be doing next. So, takeaways from today. Resting is doing. It is imperative to allow you to be at your best. If you are thinking about this in terms of training, you need to remember that your muscles, your body needs some time to recover and rebuild. If you are not giving it those rest days, whether it's passive time or active rest and recovery, your body isn't going to get stronger. You're going to be putting yourself in a situation where you are much more likely to become injured, fatigued, and overwhelmed. So make sure you are giving your body adequate time to recover. Think about taking mini holidays every single day to help with your mental health and to help you cope better with the situations going on. And finally, plan in your rest and your recovery times. Even if it's just like, right, when I pick the kids up from school, I get them home, I give them a snack, I get them to do something, and I go and have 5 minutes to myself for a cup of tea. Plan it into your day, see where it works, but also be flexible with this so that you realize when you need that little break or that little bit of rest, that you actually give yourself the grace to go away and take it. I know that it will make a big difference to you. Be positive. Resting is important. Resting is doing, and you need it. So give yourself time to rest, and you will be so, so grateful that you did. Thank you so much for listening. If you have enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend so that they can enjoy it too, because the more people that listen, the bigger the podcast grows, and I would be so grateful for that. I hope you have a fabulous week. Take care, have a rest, and enjoy it. Bye for now.